Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Live Coding and Chill. It's Friday. I hope you've had an amazing week and are geared up for an amazing Friday and are up for coding with me. We're going to do some JavaScript and TypeScript. We're going to do some automation. We're going to do some Svelte. We're going to do some cool stuff today. And also, today is my birthday. So happy birthday to me. I can't think of a better way to spend my day than with loved ones and with a break to spend it with you, my lovely chat and fellow coders and engineers. So today the plan is to keep working on the Zonify website, where we do have a subscription service that we'll keep working on in future episodes. But now I want to add some blog functionality. On a previous episode, we added a generative search functionality, which was super cool. You can ask any question, and if I kind of answer it in one of my videos, my edited videos, my succinct, my fluff-free guides, like how do I do page transitions, then Zonipod will answer based on the data we have. So that's my favorite one to ask. Let's see if it still works, because I just did a deployment right before the live stream. So I do page transitions, and then it will think, and then it should answer with information from one of my latest videos where I talk about how to do page transitions with Svelte. This can be improved. We may improve this in future episodes, but it got me thinking that in order to make this work, I had some Markdown committed to my repo. And if I have Markdown committed, might as well allow the users to be able to see it. So I have the video transcripts already in Markdown now, and why not have a page on this website where people can click and view all my transcripts and links to the videos themselves and have all sorts of nice things like that. So that's what we're going to do today, instead of just having a script that does a migration from Markdown to the Swabase database, or just rendering the Markdown with Vite. There is a plugin for that. I figured to create a GitHub action, a custom GitHub action that other people may potentially use, because I love contributing to open source, and you may get cool ideas when you have other people using the same code. They may find some vulnerabilities or some opportunities for optimization, or they might tell you about cool features that you should add that may make the product or the code better. So if you have suggestions, please use this and let me know what you'd like to find next. And we'll also confirm today that this actually works, as we'll use it in a real project. Also, why are we doing this anyway? Why did I choose to have something that takes my Markdown and puts it on the Swabase database? Well, Markdown is amazing for me to write in. I love writing in Markdown. I enjoy the process. But afterwards, when you want to do stuff with your Markdown files, it can be trickier if you don't have them committed in a database. If you have them in a database, then you can more easily do things like reactions, user reactions based on those blog posts, or comments for those blog posts, or finding related blog posts according to the one you're reading now, or doing better text search. That sort of thing is always easier if you have it in a database. That's what I find. So I'm trying to get the best of both worlds by having the writing process still be in Markdown. I don't need to create some UI here, so I can actually edit the things in the database. The Markdown files are still how I write the posts, but the way I work with the posts is after they've been processed in a database. So let's try to get the best of both worlds by including this GitHub action that we've created on the previous live streams. And apparently the way to do that is to follow the instructions. So let's create this file. This is heavily inspired by this generate embeddings workflow action that the Swabase team has suggested we use when we use the embeddings generator GitHub action, which makes headless vector search possible. So let's create this. Interestingly, they're doing snake case while I did kebab case. Maybe that's fine. I can paste this here. Sync Markdown with Supabase, only run this on the main branch. That makes sense. Do I need the 0.0 here? Maybe. Oh, it's not Markdown to Supabase, just the same. It's same Agrippus. Markdown to Supabase. Whoops. So I'll need to update this, and you need to specify the exact version. Interesting. Interesting. So that's good to know. So check out the repo and run my action, and it's gonna use the public Supabase URL, which the other action is already using. I have this available because my app needs it. Switch to the desktop view. Make sure that everything is visible. It's using the Supabase service role key, which should also be available. I guess I do have the GitHub Actions plugin, so it would tell me if I'm trying to use an environment variable that's not set. So that should be set. The docs root path is actually docs videos, and the target table, I'm gonna make it custom, so all of those two are custom, optional inputs that we can pass. So I'm gonna make it target my Supabase Postgres videos table, but that table doesn't exist. We'll need to create a migration for it. And in this project, I do have provided a simple migration that we can use. So first, I think we need to get Looker running, probably. And then what we want to do is next Supabase migration new. It seems that's the one. Create videos table. Oh no. So I don't understand why this happens. In my packetization, I should have the transit dependency of Supabase here, so I should have that executable. But I do find that if I remove the not modules and bunlock file, then it should create it, or else I will need to purge the bun cache. It seems like it downloaded now. So if we run the same command again, it created an empty migration for us. This one where we can paste whatever I did. Here. So let's create a public videos table. I'm gonna change the migration a little bit. Everything else should be the same. Alter the table for row level security. Make it readable to everyone. You don't need to authenticate it to see it. Create a unique index on the slug, because we will be getting things from the slug. That's the most likely use case. And I don't think this affects anything, because you can name this anything you want, but just for niceness, let's call it videos. This does affect things, so public docs should be public videos. If you choose to not mess with the defaults, you can just leave this as a public docs table. If you want your documents to be in a docs directory, then you don't need to change this migration at all. But for me, I have the specific use case where I want to target video transcripts and not documentation, not blog posts. But you may want to call it like posts or something like that. So that's the way to do it. Let's go to our GitHub Action and update the docs before we forget. This is C. Magrippis, and you need to specify the latest version as well. And everything else was fine, if I remember correctly. That was the only problem. And I also want to Supabase stop the Docker container from this. And afterwards, we can start the Docker container for our Zonify app. And then we can reset the database so it will run the migration we just created and confirm that it works. Public doc doesn't exist. We missed something. Of course. Videos. Try again. All right, that probably worked. Table editor, there is a videos table. Great. So what do I want here is to double check how we push an aggression. Just db push, sure. Let's go to our Supabase project too. It's this one. Our database doesn't have a videos table. Now we're gonna run next Supabase push. We need the password, which makes sense. Let's one password this. I think I got it here. Oh, guess not. Go with the different thing. Try another password. This one worked. Aggression looks like it worked. We have a videos table. Amazing. So this would mean that if we merge this to master, don't know why the log file changed. But if we merge this to the main branch, it should run the GitHub action to populate that table. So let's see. So let's push this. Oh, we're gonna need to merge this if the tests pass, and then I'm gonna need to go to a different branch and not the birthday stream one. Oh well. So the project, you can always find the code by clicking here on the GitHub icon of the website. Have this. As the automation runs, we can double check what we did. So we added the Markdown to Supabase YAML, which was slightly different to the one that was suggested in the repo. That's fine. And this should ensure that we do find the correct directory, this should ensure that we find the correct target table, and this should ensure that it takes correct environment variables. And then we're also committing the schema for creating the videos table, which is the target table to sync stuff to. This is only gonna run when we merge to the main branch, as we specify here. We didn't need to commit this, we can change it afterwards. Deployment has completed. Player tests should pass if they are dependable, because we didn't change any functionality. I guess we ran a migration on production, so there is a 0 chance that creating a new table broke something else elsewhere in our app. But maybe it's not 0, maybe it's just infinitely small. These are the longest tests, but these are the ones that give you the most confidence that you didn't break anything. Knew it. They couldn't start the server. But why? Nobody wants to be debugging GitHub Actions. So I guess ban run build failed, but Vercel managed to deploy this, so it shouldn't have failed. So let's see, if I ban build now, it just works. It seems like they succeeded. Should I do something else in the playwright action? We do have playwright SC2E, and so let's see the playwright config. We're running the build here, and then we're running the preview server. Let's see, if we run ban build, maybe that fails. It worked. But we can still separate that logic. Just say ban preview. The port is going to be this, I'm sure. But in the playwright, let's say, let's build here. Then we can install the browsers, sure. Then we can say run test v. But interestingly, now we want the environment variables to be part of the build step. I imagine, because none of them are dynamic environment variables, they should all be static. Oh. This is dynamic. Let's call it static. So build with everything like that. Let's try again. Run build. And we do run test e2e. It runs the dev server and runs every test which passes. Hopefully. Eventually. Change this comment to so let's push that. If it's a build problem, I may just merge anyway, just to move on, like for the stream, for everyone, for the good of everyone, because we want to see the Markdown blog stuff. We don't want to see playwright debugging. Yeah, makes sense. So the build doesn't work. But that's a problem that I had. That's my bad, what I'm trying to say. Did Vercel manage to deploy? Okay, so what did we do before? Products live. I can let this be dynamic, actually. No need to change functionality, or else forget this ever happened. was worried that I would need to pass the environment variable here, which isn't that big of a deal, but I don't really want to pass, to have two steps where I'm passing in environment variables. But if the environment variable doesn't exist, and it's a dynamic one, I think that's gonna just be falsy. So it will just work. It will not complain. Force push. It's a pull request branch, so no worries. So let's see, if the build step runs, then we should be fine. Great time to catch up with the chat as well. If you have any questions, if you want to tell me what you're working on or what your week's been like, weekend plans, please let me know. All right, build step worked, which is very encouraging. Now the long step of installing the playwright browsers we're running against. Then the tests, which hopefully are dependable and not flaky. This is one of the reasons where people don't like end-to-end tests wrongly. It's when they didn't do anything wrong with the functionality, so the app still works, but the end-to-end tests are saying there is something wrong. But it's a problem with me. I set up the end-to-end tests incorrectly somehow. Ugh. So, once again, it's my problem. When the end-to-end tests are good, then you have no problems like that. You only have great confidence. So I should have... The first thing that playwright tests do is they log in, so they are able to use the authentication state. The authenticated state to confirm that I can see my profile as a logged-in user and that sort of thing. So actually, the playwright logged-in password should be part of the playwright stuff. This one. Yeah, if your principal software engineer, me, or the replacement me, your equivalent of me, has set these things up correctly, then you do your job, you finish your story, you implement your ticket, you add your value, and the tests should run fast. By the time Vercel has deployed, or whatever your deployment process is, has deployed, the tests have run, and they're either green and passing if everything's right, or red only if you've done something wrong. So you can go back and see, yeah, I forgot to add an accessible title here, or I messed up. This, like now the login flow doesn't work because I changed something. And that's good because then it saved you from breaking production, the end-to-end tests, and you love them. But if they go red and it's not your fault, then you hate them. And that's why end-to-end tests get a bad rep and people don't want to do it. Don't want to do them with unit tests, at least if they are wrong because you change the implementation and you have bad tests that are testing exactly your implementation, like you're mocking something and you expect something to be called exactly that and it can never be changed. At least those tests, which are bad and give you no confidence, are quick to change and are quick to fail. So you don't feel as bad. Well, if an end-to-end test fails and it takes like 5 minutes or 10 or 20 or 30 and you have to try again and it wasn't your fault, you hate them forever. Nowadays, it is easier to have dependable end-to-end tests that only fail when you've done something wrong, so give you confidence, and not when you haven't. It's not like a coin flip. But I did mess up here, Rasin, to do stuff, so that's why we're paying the price. Are they actually running? Hopefully. Because after this step, we merge with main, and then we have another GitHub action that runs. Great. Confirmed we didn't break any functionality. We've made our end-to-end tests a bit better. We're here, so rebase and merge. I did say that I wanted the birthday branch to last a bit longer, so I guess I got my wish. Should have been careful when I wished for that. I shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times. Our GitHub action fails immediately. Module not found. That's bad. So that's very bad. So when we're using our GitHub action, it doesn't take out the source folder. This stream suddenly changes with debugging the GitHub action. I should change the title. So GitHub action include directory. So it's saying that this doesn't exist. And is it because the GitHub action doesn't include that folder at all? The other GitHub action, does it export the whole directory? We are creating a composite action. Maybe I should have tested that action offline, but I was too confident. Bin. What is bin? So let's see, maybe that Vercel thing is gonna help us. But would that be able to run with ban? I don't think so. And the problem with GitHub Action wasn't that it didn't have this. It can't find this module. What does it check out? Does it check out the GitHub file, the GitHub repo? I think so. But then it's not gonna check out the node modules. I see what the problem is. No, we are checking out this, so... Are we? Maybe we aren't. Maybe that's all we need. I can only imagine. Like I would think that this checks out the target repo, but maybe it checks out the action repo. And that makes this file available. Maybe that's it. And we don't need to commit the node modules because we do install them in the next step. And I do guess like most things run the checkout action is the first step, so let's do that. All right. Shouldn't have pressed this. Whoops. But hey, desperate times, desperate measures. This should still work. We do have an action here. That does take a while to run. I'm sorry for that. But before we cut a release, let's double check that this still passes. We do have some unit tests and we have this action smoke test that supposedly confirms the action runs, but the problem with the smoke test is that we do check out the repo here. So maybe I shouldn't be checking out the repo. No, I should, because that's how it finds the GitHub action. Makes sense. Anyway, this mock test should have, well, how could it have got this? Because it's a configuration problem. Not sure. The problem, I hope, was that we weren't checking out the repo in the action YAML here. But in order for the smoke test to run, we need to check out the repo anyway, so it wouldn't have got it. If we didn't need this line, then we'd have been fine. But we do need this line because we need to use this GitHub action, which is part of the repo. This Supabase starts a local Supabase database and the API, so you can access the database. So it does take ages, but it does give me confidence. Things kinda work. Yes, at the same time. We'll pull in. Do I need to pick a category every time? Maybe not. GitHub action is running. It's installing, it ran, everything works. Cool, drafts the new release. Oh, one password again. That's nice. So now, hopefully, we can target 011. Sync that and see if that works any better. I have some confidence that this is gonna work, or at least fail in a different way. Like the file not existing must mean that we must check out the action repo. I'm not sure whether the checkout action on that context will check out the action repo and not the repo I'm running this in, but it should be fine. Oh, and of course we need to push to the main branch. So, what do we call it? D2 Supabase fix 1. See if that does anything. All right, unfortunately, we can only know this works if we merge to main. Because the action only works when we publish to main. I guess we can, if it fails again, we can change it so it will run against pull requests too. So we've talked about today, we are still on this step to use our own GitHub Action in a real project. And then we're gonna do some routing. We'll create a new route for the videos where we'll be listing all the synced Markdown transcripts. And then you should be able to click each one to go into its individual route. And then we're gonna make it render nicely using one of these projects, Micromark, which is from the same people that maintain Remark, or Markdown it, which is the thing I'm using for this now. But I've used both. I think Micromark or Remark makes it a bit easier to do things like custom components. If I want to have a code sandbox embedded or something like that in the future, maybe easier to do with Micromark or Remark, and potentially better maintained. This one hypes itself up as the most popular Markdown tool, and this one is not. I do think Markdown it is in second place, but of course it's from the same people that do this, but with a more narrow feature set that is targeting what we're doing. So we'll probably go with Micromark, and then after we do all of that, we'll actually make the code format a bit better, look a bit better using Tailwind. And I have a demo website I have in Tailwind UI that we can be inspired by. This, nothing too crazy. We may try to do something like this. And do some nice syntax highlighting with highlights.js. That's the agenda for the day. And I'm just buying time for the playwright test to run. I guess if we fix the action problem, we're gonna know as soon as we merge, like 10 seconds after we merge. And you gotta love one-liner fixes. I wonder if there's if you watch the automation test, it never finishes, kind of like with kettles and boiling and other kitchen related stuff. Passed. Dot 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 dot. 19 passed. Nice. I guess they'd have to pass. All right. Let's see. It's a sync Markdown to super base action. Oh no. Why can I not find this? Yeah, it's checking out this repo. Out action repository. And we may need to abort this because it is my birthday. Problem is that so few people are gonna be having this same problem. And I don't want to commit anything else. I just want to commit my index.js and all of that. And this saying cannot find source index.js. So they made it executable. You committed to version control. And it doesn't say anything else. All we've done is committed to version control. It doesn't say you need to specify it elsewhere. Ooh, adds the action path to the running system path. This may be the thing that we're missing. So maybe we don't need this. But we do need this. So now it should be able to execute the method that we want. If we actually do it to the correct repository. Whoops. So no checkout. No checkout here. We can set up ban and install and everything. Now it should be able to find this. That's my new guess for FX. Did we call it? No one knows. I guess it makes sense to update this here. If we do that, maybe it will update the bucket JSON too. That's the correct thing to do. And the fix is based on this. Don't want this, we want this. Do I have a better explanation for this? So yeah, let's push this and cut a release, and then hopefully be able to do to pull the new release, and then it will just work. Three-liner fix this time. Yes, but the CI step we do want it to run on pull request too. Well, that's a problem for another day. Let's cut a release. Will we get past our first hurdle? Let's see. I am allowed to push to the main branch. Great. Question is, will this just pass? Module not found. How? It felt like we did this correctly. Oh, so do we just CD into the path? But why do they not CD into the path? Don't get it. Hello Nilan, Indonesia. I love Indonesia. My dad used to spend a lot of time there when he was working as a sailor captain, cargo transporter, and both him and my mom have very fond memories of Indonesia. That was a wild and beautiful time in their lives. But I haven't been. I hope I will be there one day. So, in our action, we are doing this. We're echoing the action path, doing this, and then we're trying to run source indexed yes, which does exist. But, and yet, it doesn't quite work. Is it because we have bun first? Maybe. We're not doing anything else here, so it's just getting the input. It makes this be an output, which we don't care about. And it just runs this script. Here, it's this into CD in here. So let's try that, I guess. And maybe let's try to do that first. If we're not on the action path, how come bun install doesn't crash? I'm not sure. right, let's see what we're doing. We are not checking out the repo. We set up one. We add the action path to the GitHub path, which should make this work, but it didn't. We cd into the action path to give this, to give more of a chance for this to be located. Then we install our dependencies. Then we run this file, and then we're hoping for the best. Double check after this weird rebase that we did. So the action, yet again. We set up one. We add the action path to the GitHub path, but also we cd into the action path. Then we install the dependencies. Then, no, we don't do that. That was some merge conflict resolution problem. Then we install the dependencies, then we execute this file, which we haven't been able to find. Then everything worked great. We didn't update the package version, but that's fine. So, another release. Thankfully, no one's using this action yet. Why didn't Markdown work here? Who knows? Zero, 1, 3. Almost like in number 13. Maybe this will help. We'll find out soon enough. All right. We cannot find the file. I think I'm gonna give up. Why can we not find the file? Should I ls and see what we have here? Is it just, does it just have nothing? Is the source code nothing? Let's see. There it is. The source code does have this. so it should be fine. Was it not non-zipping stuff up? There you are. Source index, yes. We don't have the not modules, which is fine, but this should be created there. It's saying that it can't find this. And here we just run source index, yes. Maybe this is what we want. Clearly I'm just guessing at this point. Maybe relative execution will work, who knows? Maybe I should have been using this syllabus pre-release. It has the assets, should be fine, and yet it's not. Will we be able to find the repo? Interesting. Well, we'll find out later, but I think we'll be cutting this stream not short because I've been debugging this for more than an hour. But we'll see. Why doesn't the other action have this problem? Well, the other action is written in TypeScript and it is building and it is defining an output, I guess. But now if we're cding into the other directory, I am worried that we will not be able to find the repo in the code that we're using. So how will we find the correct directory if we are cd'd into a different directory, the action directory? Whoops. Well. Yeah, it doesn't quite work. It keep not finding this. CD into that directory. It doesn't make sense. Can I inspect this deployment? Maybe. I guess not. So maybe I don't want to CD into that directory, but maybe I want to run this with the action directory. But I will be doing all of this offline because I realize this is not the best stream content. Oh well. That means our Tuesday stream or Wednesday stream, next week's stream, are going to be more interesting because this will have been resolved and we can go straight into the fun stuff. I guess this also means that this stream has been a bit of clickbait because we didn't get to do any of the cool stuff like routes define and syntax highlight in Markdown. Oh well, apologies for that. It happens. Maybe it was too early in the day for me to get this going. But regardless, I enjoyed doing this. And that's the only way you keep forward. Like you show up, you do the work, and you inch along better release. We'll get there next time and next week. Thanks a bunch to everyone, and especially Neil in the chat. It was great to hear that I have Indonesian fans. There are a few of you, and I appreciate all of you. So I will call it a stream today. In the description, I will update some stuff because we didn't get far. And if I manage to get to the bottom of this, but until then, I'll see you around. Have a lovely